Every year, Mojang lets the community vote on a new mob to add to Minecraft. This year, the mobs we're voting on are the crab, the armadillo, and the penguin. Obviously, it's fine if you really like these mobs, but to me, they seem to lack any real personality or flair, and I honestly don't prefer any one of them over the others. That's why I decided to design 3 of my own mobs to create my own Minecraft mob vote. Once you've seen them all, maybe you can vote on them in the comments or something. The only problem is that Minecraft mobs are 3D, and I almost considered giving up on this idea before I started because I don't know how to use any 3D software. But I guess I'll worry about that later, because the first thing I need to do is come up with some ideas for what these mobs are and how they would add to the game. I started by brainstorming in my sketchbook, first for this Zombie King enemy, but then I realized there's already a really popular mod that adds something similar. So then I came up with a goblin guy that lives in dungeons similar to mob spawners. I liked the idea of a secretive underground creature, but I thought a goblin didn't really fit Minecraft's style, as Minecraft doesn't have any generic fantasy creatures, unless you count the witch, I guess. So I moved to my drawing tablet and started sketching concept art for a cute mushroom man. My idea is that he will dwell underground in lush caves, and you can barter with him like a piglin, except instead of trading with gold, you can give him any of the ores you found while mining, and depending on the rarity of the ore, he'll trade more valuable special items. For example, giving him copper or coal might get you string or bones, while giving him diamonds could get you rare enchanted books. Now that I have a good idea, it's time to start modeling this guy in 3D. Oh right, I don't know any 3D software. I already have Blender installed on my computer for some reason, so I guess I'll learn how to use that. I'll quickly go through this tutorial, become a Blender expert, and then get started on the mobs. Turns out this tutorial has 17 parts, and this is going to take longer than I anticipated. So I've spent the last 5 hours going through about half of this tutorial, and I've made this donut, learning in the process about modifiers, 3D sculpting, texture painting, and other stuff. But then I realized that a donut isn't a Minecraft mob, and even though I can sort of use Blender now, I still don't know how to make the first mob in my Minecraft mob vote. So I found this other program called Blockbench, and apparently it's way easier to use to make custom mobs, so I'm going to use that. I definitely don't regret the 5 hours I spent learning Blender, even if I'm not going to be using it for this project, because knowing how to make a donut is a useful skill, I guess. In Blockbench, you can use an already existing mob in Minecraft as a template and customize it to make it your own. Or you can start with a blank canvas and build the mob from scratch, which is what I'm going to do. I guess I can resize cubes and rotate them. This is actually going better than I expected. So I've made the model for this mushroom guy, who I will call Jerry the Fungling, because he is fungus, and now it's time to start texturing. I've actually made a lot of pixel art for games I've made in the past, so this shouldn't be too hard. And it's broken. I had to delete the texture and start over. Not sure what happened, actually. So then I finished painting the texture, and it turned out really well, in my opinion. I could see Jerry fitting into Minecraft pretty easily, among the spore blossoms and glowberries of a lush cave. All things considered, he's a pretty fun guy. But that's only the first mob, and I still need to make 2 more. To contrast Jerry, I wanted the next mob to be something hostile, and have it live somewhere in the nether, maybe in the Soul Sand Valley biome. I got an idea from certain types of plants that lure insects into their clutches with sweet-smelling nectar, and then keep the insects trapped until they're digested. So I thought, what if instead of sweet-smelling nectar, the bait were some kind of valuable item? And what if instead of a plant, it was a giant horrifying skeleton of a dead dragon that erupts out of the ground? And what if instead of an insect, it was the player? I really liked this idea, so I started drawing concept art. Making good-looking dragons out of blocks is a challenge, so this might end up being really difficult. I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to pull this off, so I just started modeling in Blockbench, and somehow I managed to create something that wasn't entirely terrible. Texturing it is going to be hard, though. Jerry only had 13 separate cubes that needed texturing, but this dragon has 55, which is almost 5 times as many. So here's how this dragon works. Let's say you're walking through the nether in the Soul Sand Valley. Ahead of you, you see, I don't know, a golden apple just lying on the ground. You think to yourself, that's a bit weird, and you go to pick it up. But as soon as you get too close, the bone dragon bursts out of the ground underneath you and swallows you whole, giving you absolutely no chance of escape. However, it is possible to get the bait item without triggering the dragon if you use a fishing rod to grab it from a safe distance. Only 1 mob left. At this point, I seem to have run out of ideas, and I've procrastinated making the last mob for several days. I tried looking through art and images for inspiration, and after seeing this picture, I tried making some kind of floating, wispy bug that flies through the end. I didn't really like how it turned out, so I scrapped the idea and started over. Then I looked up Minecraft dungeons. I found this really great-looking red golem type boss mob. I thought it would be really fun to have something like this in regular Minecraft, and so to honor the 2 golems that lost previous mob votes, I started planning the creation of Bob, the great green gallivanting grassland golem. After sketching some concept art, I started work on modeling Bob in Blockbench. Now, Bob was easily the biggest mob I had worked on so far. While Jerry had only 13 individual cubes and the dragon had 55, Bob has even more, and he is about twice as big as either of the previous mobs. Texturing him will easily take hours, so I put on some music and got to work. Final result is here. I thought it would be interesting if Bob, rather than being a typical angry boss mob type giant, were actually gentle and peaceful, even if provoked. Being an ancient creature, Bob lives above ground near archaeology sites, peacefully watching over them so they are not disturbed before a player can discover their secrets. If you give Bob seeds or saplings, he will store them until he finds a place to plant them. He is a preserver of nature. one of the few that remain of his kind, created so long ago. If this were a real mob vote, which of these three would you vote for? Jerry the Fungling, with whom you can barter common cave ores for valuable items? The Soul Dragon, that might lure you to your doom with a tempting reward? Or Bob the Golem, the preserver and guardian of the many secrets of the ancient world? Tell me in the comments, and maybe in a future video I'll learn to code a mod that actually adds the winner of this vote into Minecraft.